basically, this story begins back in January. I went to a used camera store just to see one of my former coworkers who I knew worked there. I just wanted to go check out what was new, see what they had in stock, that sort of thing. And then of course I ended up leaving with a new camera. Basically, my whole idea behind getting the camera was that if I bought a new camera and spent the money on it, I would be able to guilt myself into actually making something with it. Cut to 2 months later, and I need to make a project for Ways of Seeing, and I'm feeling guilty about not using this camera, and I'm hoping to find some time to chat with artists who I really admire, and, well, you do the math. Besides, this project is all about figuring out what theater means, and theater is so inherently collaborative, it just made sense to get some outsider input. But then I realized, oh my god, Ways of Seeing is technically a design class, and it's all about the visual expression of ideas. Oh my god, I'm going to fail and I'll never work in theater again, and No, wait a second. I have an idea. Now, in order to get my interview subjects in the right frame of mind for the more visual art component of this project, I realized that I would need to get them warmed up a little first.
What kind of look do you want? Are you doing a Head and Shoulders?
So basically what this project is all about is what does the word theater mean? First question for you is, what is your very first memory of theater?
Oh gosh. I do remember. It was
grade 5, I think, and I was in a play, The Christmas Carol, and I was playing Bob Cratchit, and at intermission I was goofing around under Scrooge's desk, and they opened the curtain, and I had to stay hidden under the desk throughout the second act.
What inspires you to pursue theater as a career?
Oh, this is the tricky one. I think
My teachers.
I auditioned for the dance program and was accepted immediately, which made me very suspicious. I was accepted at the audition, so I thought, oh, they just don't have enough men.
And I remember a skirt. I think it was, I forget which actress this was, but she had a skirt, and all of a sudden it changed into a table.
And I love telling people stories, and I find the stories and relationships between people very, very interesting and very fulfilling.
I chose playwriting just to try it out, and I don't know, it was like something inside me from that 3-year-old version of me sitting watching Shakespeare was like, oh yeah.
Once I was able to commit and knew that I had to at least try out this passion, and if it didn't work out, then I could at least say, well, I tried, and it seems to have worked out.
So from up there, watching these other two people who were the apprentice stage management, and thinking that looks like a much easier job than what I'm doing right now. So I went back the next year as an apprentice stage manager, and then an ASM, and then a stage manager, and pursued stage management for, I guess, about 10 years. Yeah.
And also, while I was leeching their time for my project, I figured I might as well also leech out a little bit of inspiration just for those days when I'm feeling a little bit burnt out.
Theater still has a really strong voice in community. We have more to say now, I think, than we did 30 years ago.
The show ended. There was no sound, nothing at all. And then without any warning, the audience just jumped up and started screaming and clapping. And I realized that they had all been experiencing the same thing I was experiencing.
Well, I'll tell you what inspires me more than anything right now, thanks to the pandemic. It's terrible to say, I've been in the business for 45 years professionally, and it's the first time I really realized how much it matters to people.
Theater kind of awakens something in people. It makes them privy to things that they may not have known otherwise.
What do we shine a light on? What are we representing? Whose experience do we get to see?
It was a level of transcendence that I've only felt twice in the theater, and that was the first time I felt it. And so I've been trying to. That's what I'm shooting for. But it was a whole different kind of experience, and it took the audience. It just took the audience by surprise. Everybody was just like, "This has never happened to us before."
We're all breathing the same air. It's a shared experience, and that is very powerful. Always has been, always will be for me.
And I think there's all this research now about how our heartbeats syncopate when we're in a room together, when we are experiencing something together. So that for me is the stuff.
The first time I saw my work on stage and finished the show and came out into the lobby, I was just like hooked and had this overwhelming feeling of, I need to do this again. This needs to happen again right now.
There's been so many times when I've been transported. Gee whiz.
But I think the element of theater that continues to draw me towards it is the community aspect of it, and like witnessing other people be as excited about my work as I am. That's what keeps me going in this specific medium.
And last but not least, I had to make sure that my guests would also do my project for me. But basically, in a simple image, I would like you to describe what the word theater means to you with this pen.
Okay.
And I have a canvas. I'm going to get a row of pens and a canvas. And I would like you, if you don't mind,
Wow.
to draw.
Okay.
Because it felt weird to make a ways of seeing kind of design class final project be about asking verbal questions.
So, do you want me to draw on this canvas?
Yes, this is what Peter drew.
Oh.
And then I'll give you this pen. And you can draw anything you like.
What theater means to me in an image.
Do you want me to actually do it in front of the camera?
I would love
Do
it.
you want me to open
If
up?
you're comfortable doing
I
it,
am
yeah.
actually. So,
Can I do it on top of Peter's?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because he kind of has me. This is like an activity that I would make you do in a class. It's all coming back to me.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a.
Okay. Ready?
That's it.
So it's an eye.
Uh-huh.
So it's Peter's kind of thing. But it's like an eye behind these sort of curtains. And it's this, I guess, this idea of.
Zoom in on it so you can get a nice clear shot.
The circle. So I think it's about joining people together and communicating, and we come into the circle and we leave the circle. And we're transformed by the circle.
It's drawing off of this whole concept of the theater as the seeing place.
Yeah, not to be sentimental. I don't mean it to be sentimental,
Mm-hmm.
but I think theater's about humanity, really, and
You know,
Mm-hmm.
but what do we see and how do we conceal certain things and how do we open them up? So to me, that's kind of what theater is.
Okay.
Great. Could you show us what you've drawn there? Alright, let me zoom in on it here. Excellent. I love that you've interacted so much with the other drawings around it too. I love that.
That's quite interesting.
Okay, it's abstract. But this is the vibe I felt.
Shining a light and awakening the audience to things they might not be able to experience without coming to the theater.
Not to be ableist about it, right? Because it's not just about sight, but I mean like insight, right? I mean like all of the associations with sight that work beyond just seeing. But the ways that when we see something, we feel something, we come to know it in a whole new way. When we see ourselves, you know, some part of ourself that's never been revealed, that we've been too afraid to allow the world to perceive when we see it represented on stage. The power of that, I guess. Yeah.
In creating this piece of art, or I guess producing this piece of art that others created, I learned a lot about the commonalities in what we define theater as. People, stories, connection, interaction, humanity. There were all of these similarities, and yet no two answers were exactly alike. And that, to me, is what makes theater beautiful. It's an art form that is deeply personal and intimate down to the individual, and yet we get to share these experiences with a community. Looking at this canvas, what I see is a sense of togetherness. That's what theater means to me. Being together, sharing stories. That magical feeling of telling and hearing stories together, that isn't going away anytime soon. And neither is theater. Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. That's
You're
all
welcome.
my questions.
Okay, now we've done a mini production of art.
Yeah.